So here we are again, and I will talk about theory discussion about Paulo Freire's theory. So his educational philosophy. So according to him, I'd like to say to us as an educator, poor are those among us who lose their capacity to dream and to create their courage to denounce and announce. So before we start for the main theory, so let's first talk about the pedagogy of the oppressed 1972. So this is the most famous book of Paulo Freire. So Freire here explains his belief about how the purpose of education is conscientization, which refers to having the citizens enlightened about their inequalities. So these inequalities are their differences in terms of learning and education. So he believed that these inequalities are inherent now and in each person's social class and cultural identity. So he believed that each person had the power to make radical changes about the issues that restricts their freedom. Freire explicitly applies his belief when teaching reading, as he suggests that adults learn how to read by understanding powerful words in the text. So, for example, love, which can be communicated pragmatically to others in the real world. So Freire philosophy of pedagogy. So Freire advocates social justice and political change as he was the pioneer of the critical literacy and critical pedagogy as he stresses the philosophy of liberation. So he also believed that the educational change is affected by social and political structures. He also believed that cultural formations, social relations, and cultural formations are evolved through dialogues. He also believes that one needs to become literate, which is what Freire called the praxis. So he refers the praxis as the meaning that circulates, performs actions, and is revised. This in turns to allow people to interpret politics. It makes sense of things and have the determination to make change the society. So for Freire, the very protocols of literacy is the act of coming to know. So must themselves be transferred in order to make prominent places for issues of social justice and the struggle of emancipation. So also Freire believes that the critical literacy is necessary to develop critical consciousness of people. So this is especially the case for the poor who needs to explore ways to find meaning and purpose in their lives. So therefore literacy is needed too as a process of participation in the community. So Freire also developed literacy programs and to empower the poor so that they can find more jobs. So overall, educators who are inspired by Freire's critical pedagogy also believe that the world is not reduced to a piece of text, but believe that one should seek to make sense of these life experiences. So, therefore, Freire urges that educators to identify the aporias within their own philosophies of teaching and daily life. So next is the application of the philosophy inside the classroom. So the learner's awareness and active participation are necessary for the real education to take place. So rather than submerging learners, the educator's mission is to bring them to the surface, where they can begin seeing and deciding for themselves. So as a future values educator, it is our goal to help the learner to emerge into a fuller consciousness of reality, and thereby becoming a more complete human being. So also, education at its best, it is a process of discovery where learners and educators collaborate to develop and test different ways of understanding and acting. So by this theory of education, it can help us, the future values educator, to know our competencies on how we approach to different kind of people and learners in the future. So that's all for the theory of Paulo Freire's on the pedagogy of education. Thank you.